Alright, this is for the north pasture, but I'm going to start with a view of the strip behind the shipping container from the other side. Pretty impressive he got through there. I'm surprised the vehicle fit, but I guess it was just wide enough. So, and also kind of back here, he did all this right behind the barn. And I guess before I get to the west pasture, I just want to take a quick shot of this area that's south of the barn. That looks really nice. That's where I definitely see, I don't know, if you were going to put in a production vegetable garden, that's actually probably a better size than the garden over there. Not that that's anything wrong with that, but in some ways this is more clear right now. But it's also not protected. But then again, that's not really protected either because that fencing's all broken in a bunch of places. Anyway, that's kind of outside the scope of this video, but the cat loves these walkthroughs. So, back to the west pasture. So, looks like he can't really get back to get that. So that's an area we're going to have to hand cut, or even if it's with a power tool, we're not going to be able to do it with a rolling machine. A lot of the apples in this tree are gone, either probably from wildlife. Didn't have a ton to start with, but I'm even looking up high and I'm not seeing much there. So, and I don't think it's on the ground. So I don't know. It's not like the deer can reach that high. Yeah, there's a few. There's one hanging out there. But that's kind of weird. Anyway, moving on. So he got all pretty up close to this. I think we're just gonna have to, I'd like to just cut all this out because it all looks totally dead to me. And it might have been another tree at one time, but I don't think it's alive anymore. Okay, clearly a lot of broom here got cut, you can tell, because again, the debris looks so woody. It's very different from the grass clipping. We would probably have a lot of mushrooms out here right now, but the mowing probably got rid of most of that. We definitely have some in the backyard in front of the barn, which did not get mowed, but it is also obviously not as tall as all this was. There's a view over there of what I'm going to call the orchard. So he got in there pretty good, but I'm going to walk around the same direction I usually have this time. So there's a couple of nice big rocks there. Just curious if they dug those out of the ground when they built the place, or if they were just sitting on top of the land. Wow, I don't know if he cut this down. That's a pretty big tree branch. I mean, it looks like he must have just run right over it. Sorry, the camera got out of my hand there a little bit. Out there, you can see into the neighbor's yard a little bit better. I have some mixed feelings about that, but it's not going to really matter that much. It's not like we're hanging out here a whole lot, and it's going to get thicker as you get back here in the place where the neighbor's yard gets thicker too. This is kind of cool because there's almost like you can make little pathways now, and I do like that. It just kind of reveals where you could put in a kind of a logical path that's already sort of there in a way. Wow. I'm sure I saw that before, but I didn't notice it as much. The big log breaking down. Looks like a big tree that fell over. So I'm, again, impressed that he got back here, which Jack mentioned I would be. And I'm kind of realizing now this might be the place that was hard to get through before, that Jack was laughing about when I asked how different it would be. So I don't know, maybe I hadn't seen that down tree before, but this looks unrecognizable. In fact, to the point where I almost feel like I'm in a different place. Oh no, maybe the spot I'm thinking of is right up here, but still, this is completely different. This lets us get up to some of these trees, which still look like the cherry trees. Probably ornamental kind. This is some very uneven ground here, which is something we already knew. Yeah, this is that first spot. And so it is definitely easy to walk through, but I mean, obviously this is what I was thinking he can't get to, really. So you still have that spot. If you wanted to go this way, you'd have to go through there. But I think the exciting part is that maybe you don't need to go that way, because now you could actually go this way if you wanted. So I'm walking south a little bit, kind of routes you around more the middle, or what feels like the middle. Here's some rocks we wouldn't have seen before because you couldn't walk through this before. That is a huge dirt patch, which is a little weird. I think that's weird. Not sure what's going on there. Definitely have, wow, this is a hill that we would not have seen because we couldn't walk in here. In fact, I'm gonna walk up it because there's a rock, and there's some big rocks at the foot of this tree. Because if we turn around and look, oh yeah, remember what I said about mushrooms? Yeah, sorry, distraction time. This goes way downhill, that whole area. There's quite a grade there that I just didn't have a sense of before. So I'm actually a little surprised he didn't get more under this tree, just because it wouldn't have, I mean, he would had to ride under these branches, but it's not like they would have hurt him. And this ground here is pretty clear. But hey, then I wouldn't have my mushroom. Haha. So it's pretty cool though. All right. So I didn't go through that thing. I walked around it this way, but that also does kind of weird that he didn't get this spot either, since he was able to get that hill, which looks much steeper to me than this. I'm realizing that these are cherry trees too. They just seem more mature, and that's a little weird. Anyway, if I'm gonna go down this way, I would need to walk through here. And what this is kind of the path that we used to come up from after going through that other part that I've avoided today. So I'm gonna walk down it. It's impressive that he got this down. I definitely think he made some choices. Okay, is this the other side? I think this is the other side of where we used to crawl through, because there was the stinging nettle. This was the madrona tree that laid across. Yep, here we are. So it's like a little path. This is going to be just really hard to convey in the video, unfortunately, but it just makes the layout quite a bit different as far as accessing different parts. So this is where I would still have to climb over a log. And since I don't have to, I'm not going to. You can see where the fence is. Somebody's shooting. There's some hardwood stuff there that couldn't have been mowed over. So I'm gonna go back up the path we came down to get here. There's a fern that got mowed over and I just tripped over a bramble. A really thick one. So again, I'm gonna come up around this. I'm gonna walk around the inside. So there's a lot of bramble here that he was like, nah, that's too much for me. My awesome machinery. So in the past, we would have crawled under that log, walked up the fence on that side, and he did not, I'm in a spot where he did not mow right here, which is another seemingly random choice in my opinion, which I'm fine with. I just find it interesting. Right, and so we would have come out on the other side over here of this, and then we would follow the fence up this way. And here we go. And I don't really have a lot to say here. He cleared out a lot of the middle. Definitely made pathways between the trees. And it's like neighbor dog is gonna come visit me. Yep, hello. Yeah. I'm gonna head toward the middle a little bit because I don't really want to interact with them too much right now. So So this was all bramble that you couldn't walk through. Now I'm walking through here without boots today because it's not wet and I knew it was going to be cut, but that means all this debris has thorns. So it's a little, I felt some pokes through my socks is all I'm saying. So even though you can walk through it, I would definitely not encourage Cordelia to come play in here, for instance. At least not until this is broken way down. But you can walk through it. You just need to be careful. And before there was no walking through it at all. So a little bit of it's left in the center around these trees. I kind of skipped the corner because of the dogs, but there's also nothing really to say about it. Yep, there's the corner. Choices here about not getting quite as close to the fence in some spots as others. Part of that's because there's a tree here, but I don't think that's the entire story. I think he just used the force for some of this. And this actually doesn't look that different, so I think maybe he didn't mow over here. This kind of just looks like it would have looked anyway, because this is super shady here, so there's a lot of green grass, but it's not super tall, because that's what would happen naturally. But that's more blackberry destruction. And yep, this is all still, so he went through all here, which is insane in the sense that I'm amazed that he could do that with his tool, but yet he didn't feel like he could fit through here. It is a little tight, but then again, he went behind the shipping container, so I don't know. It looks like he took a path through this. I can see why. This is definitely more comfortable. But that left all this grass a little taller, which will make animals happy. Linus was with me, but I don't know where he is now. I haven't really been keeping up with him, so he might have gotten lost getting excited about stuff. So, and we're almost back to the beginning. This we kind of knew, but it really shows that unlike the rest of the West Pasture, this is the really nice flat, maybe just a slight grade down, but none of these big drops in elevation. And I say that meaning big to a single human. It's not like it's a huge drop. But yeah, I think we're done. I'm gonna do just a little bit of a pan from here. And I'm back to the entrance.